Hello everyone, I'm Professor K.N. Vaksore. In this lecture, we are going to study the torque analysis of epicyclic gear train. As we know, because of the epicyclic action in the that epicyclic gear train, which is also referred as a sun and planet type gear arrangement, we can achieve very high reduction or the increment in the speed of the gear train, and because of that also we can find out that we can increase or decrease the torque. That means we can change the torque in case of epicyclic gear train. In this lecture, we are going to study how there are different torques acting on the epicyclic gear train and how to do it and how to calculate this torque that we are going to study in this today's lecture or in this today's session. Okay. The objective of this session to aware about the torque analysis, different torques and its analysis in the epicyclic gear train. Okay. Now I'll just mark the pen. There are the three torques acting on the epicyclic gear train. Okay, before that there are the now in this, according to the application, there may be more than one member. That means more than two shaft, three shaft. Now in this case, just try to understand. There is the first shaft, which is the input shaft, which is connected to the sun gear or connected to the gear number 1. The second shaft, which is gear connected to the arm, and that one end of that arm which is connected to that shaft, which is just coaxial to the sun gear, and second end of that arm which is connected to the planet gear B, and that third shaft which is connected to this annular gear, which is again meshes with the gear B. In this case, just try to understand, this is the input shaft, this is the shaft which is connected to the arm, and this is the third shaft, or this is the third member. We can say as the member or the shaft also, because this is the coaxial. We can connect to the another shaft also, which is called as the that third member. Now if we consider this, that input shaft carries some torque, output shaft carries some torque, and that this member which is having some motion, that annular gear, which also carries some torque, the summation of all the torques is equal to T1 plus T2 plus T3 is equal to 0. For the equilibrium condition, the net torque applied to the gear train must be 0. That means, which is equal to F1R into F2R into F3R. Now this F1, F2 or F3, which are the externally applied forces, that means these are the actually tangential forces, F1, F2 and F3, which are the tangential forces which are developed because of this gear, when we transmit the motion, that input takes some motion from the prime mover, that P is equal to F into V, and that F which is the tangential force. From this you will get these forces. Okay, F1, F2, F3. Now omega 1, omega 2 and omega 3, that means N1, N2, N3, which are the angular velocities or the angular speeds of the driving shaft, driven shaft and the fixed member. Now in this case, why it is the fixed member? Now we are going to fix this gear number 3, and we are giving the input to this, which allows to rotate this gear to, which allows to rotate this arm, and because of that still we will find the rotation of this gear B. Okay, now before fixing it, it is having some motion. We have already studied the tabular method. In that tabular method, we have done the kinematic analysis. In that, we can calculate the angular velocities of any gear in the gear train. That means omega 1, omega 2, omega 3, which are the angular velocities that we can find out from the tabular method. Okay, driving, which is the omega 1, driven, which is the omega 2, and fixed member, which is the omega 3. Okay, now just try to understand. In this case, suppose that input having some motion, we allow us to rotate that input, which rotates, which gives the motion to this gear through this arm, and which allows to rotate this ring gear, this ring gear or the annular gear. Now when it is having some motion, that means it transmits some torque. That torque transmission of that annular gear, which is the T3. Now in this second case, okay, and that total torque F1 into R plus F2 into R plus F3 into R is equal to 0. Now in this case we are just neglecting the friction. The kinetic energy dissipated by the gear train again must be 0. Total kinetic energy dissipated by the that gear train must be 0. That's why T1 omega 1, T2 omega 2 plus T3 omega 3 is equal to 0. This is the total kinetic. T1 omega 1 plus T3 omega, T2 omega 2 plus T3 omega 3 is equal to 0. But now we are going to fix this member. Instead of it is having some motion, we just fix this. That means its omega 3 becomes 0. In this case, ultimately what we have to find out, T1 omega 1, which is known to us, T2 omega 2 is again maybe known to us, or that we may need to find out. By using this, we have to find out this T3, how much is the torque absorbed or the fixed by this member. That means now it is rotating, that means it transmits some torque. How much is the torque gets transmitted because of that fixed member, or that because of this member when it fixed, that means it absorbs some torque. How much is the torque absorbed, that we need to calculate. For that we are going to do this analysis. Now this omega 3 is equal to 0. That means T1 omega 1 plus T2 omega 2 is equal to 0. That means T2 is equal to, by rearranging the term, T2 is equal to minus T1 omega 1 upon omega 2. As we know, we have considered the equation number 1. From that, the total torque is equal to 0. That means if you put this value in this equation, we'll find that T3 is equal to minus T1 minus T2, and that means minus T1 plus T2. That value of the T2 you have to put over here. We'll find T3 is equal to T1 into bracket omega 1 upon omega 2 minus 1. This is the T3, which is the holding torque or the fixing torque. When the input shaft, just try to understand, when the input shaft and the output shaft rotates in the same direction. Now consider this equation. When the input and output shaft are rotates in the same direction, that means omega 1 and omega 2 are having the same direction. That means in that case, which are the positive or the negative negative, in that case T2 is equal to that minus into, that means T1 and T2, this torque are in the opposite direction. Similarly, when omega 1 and omega 2, which are rotates in the same direction, in that case, which are rotates in the opposite direction, in that case, that T2, these two torques T1 and T2 are in the same direction. That by using this you can come to know how that T1 and T2 remain same. That means when we have to that neglect, or when we have to remove this minus sign, that means either multiplication of this equation by the minus or divided by the minus, that means divided by the anti-clockwise or the clockwise. Only after that you will get this T2 positive. That means when that omega 1 and omega 2 are in the opposite direction, in that case that T1 and T2 are in the same direction. Now I'll again remember that explain you, there are the three members, T1 which are the driving member, T2 which is the driven member, and T3 which is the fixing torque. Input torque is equal to T1 omega 1. Now second, which is the output shaft, that output shaft is equal to that power on the output shaft is that torque on the output shaft is equal to T2 is equal to minus T1 omega 1 upon omega 2. From the input power we can find out this, that power will be given to you again, that angular velocity will be given to you. From this you can find out this T1 by putting this value in this equation, that omega 1 and omega 2 are known to us. By putting this value you can find out this T2. Now T1 and T2 are known to us. Now we have the third equation, T1 plus T2 is equal plus T3 is equal to 0. Using this also you can find out this T3, or by putting this T2 in this equation you can find out T3 is equal to T1 into bracket omega 1 upon omega 2 minus 1. Okay, that we already studied why they are in the positive and the negative direction. In this way we can find out the fixing torque or the that holding torque, that means how much is the torque hold by this member, that we can find out by using this torque analysis. With this I will finish this session over here. At the because after at the end of this session, what is use of this torque analysis for the student? By the knowledge of this you can do the torque analysis, that means you can do the that power requirement, that means you can calculate the total torque, how much is the total power requirement. According to that you can design the gearboxes and the gear trains for the industrial and the automobile application. With this I will finish my session over here. Thank you for your patience listening. Thank you very much.